For £125, you get 80 millilitres of this. That works out to just under £1.57 per milliliter. Now that's not outrageous for a Parfum concentration, but it does mean this liquid needs to earn every single penny. And here's the thing about Scandal Elixir that nobody seems to be talking about. This fragrance doesn't just perform, it transforms. What you smell in the first 30 seconds is almost unrecognizable from what sits on your skin 6 hours later. And I'll tell you right now, one of those stages is genuinely extraordinary. The other one? You'll have to stick around to find out which is which. Jean-Paul Gaultier. If you know the name, you probably picture the cone bras, the sailors, the absolute theatrical chaos of his runway shows. This is a house that has never once played it safe. And that DNA runs directly through their fragrance line. Think about it, Le Male launched in 1995 and it's still one of the best-selling men's fragrances in the world. Classique followed, equally iconic. These weren't subtle fragrances. They were statements. They were provocations wrapped in glass and metal. Scandal as a line arrived in 2017 and it leaned hard into that legacy. It was designed for the woman, or person, who walks into a room and the room notices. It was bold, it was sweet, it was unapologetically loud. And then came the Elixir. When a house takes an already bold fragrance and strips away the filters, concentrates it, intensifies it, that's either an act of creative confidence or a mistake. With JPG, it's almost always confidence. This house understands excess. They've built a brand on it. And Scandal Elixir is them essentially saying, you thought you knew this scent. You didn't. You knew the trailer. This is the film. Right. Let's talk about the bottle because with Jean-Paul Gaultier, the bottle is never just a container. It's part of the experience. Scandal Elixir arrives in that signature gold tone, darker, richer than the original Scandal. It's got that instantly recognizable silhouette, elegant and slightly provocative at the same time, which is honestly on brand for everything JPG has ever done. It feels substantial in your hand. This doesn't feel like a £125 bottle that's mostly air and overheads, there's genuine heft to it. The spray mechanism is smooth and controlled. You're getting a precise, fine mist, not one of those catastrophic wide spray nozzles that wastes half the bottle in one press. The cap clicks on satisfyingly. And on a shelf? On a dresser? This looks expensive. It looks like it belongs next to the best things you own. It's the kind of bottle you don't hide in a drawer. You put it where guests can see it, and you wait for someone to ask what it is. That's the JPG effect. They've always understood that fragrance is theatre, and the bottle is the stage. Okay. First spray. This is the moment of truth with any Parfum concentration, because the opening blast on a Parfum is different to an EDP. It's denser, more immediate, more demanding of your attention. And Scandal Elixir does not ease you in gently. This is not a fragrance that whispers hello. What hits you first is this wave of sweetness, but not naive, not simple sweetness. It's got an almost syrupy richness to it, the kind that sits at the back of your throat as well as in your nose. There's a warmth underneath it immediately, something almost resinous, and then this honeyed quality that feels both modern and ancient at the same time. The projection on that first spray is genuinely impressive. This reaches out. You apply it, take a step back, and you can still smell it in the air around you. It announces itself. It demands space. For some people, that's going to be the most thrilling thing they've ever experienced. For others, it might be a touch confrontational first thing in the morning. And honestly, that's appropriate for this fragrance. Scandal was never meant for tentative people. As the top settles, and we're talking in that 15 to 45 minute window, something interesting starts to happen. The initial rush calms down just slightly. Not quieter exactly, but more focused. More intentional. That opening sweetness starts to show more of its character. There's a floral quality that emerges, something warm and enveloping rather than fresh or light. It leans into the skin rather than projecting outward quite as aggressively. What surprised me at this stage is how the warmth evolves. There's a complexity developing in the heart that you simply don't get with the original Scandal. This is where the Elixir concentration really starts justifying itself, because you're getting layers. You're getting a fragrance that has something to say over time, not just on that first impression. There's a richness here that feels almost edible without tipping into something you'd find in a bakery. It's gourmand adjacent, if you like, but it maintains its sophistication. It never embarrasses itself. I expected the heart to be straightforward and it wasn't. That's a good sign. Now, the dry down. 3 to 6 hours in. And this is where Scandal Elixir earns its right to exist as a separate product from the original Scandal. This is the extraordinary stage I mentioned at the top. What remains on your skin after the heart has settled is this rich, warm, deeply intimate base. It becomes a skin scent in the best possible sense, not because it's weak or faded, but because it starts to feel like it belongs to you. Like it's your skin, but amplified. There's a resinous warmth, something that feels almost like amber or a darkwood note, sitting beneath that honeyed sweetness that's been there from the start. It becomes quieter in projection but intensely present to anyone close to you. This is the kind of fragrance that works in proximity. The dry down on Scandal Elixir is genuinely seductive in a way that feels effortless. It's not trying. It just is. And for me, personally, that final stage is the best argument for buying this over the EDP. It's the stage that makes you understand why Parfum concentrations exist. Right, the practicalities. Because lyrical descriptions are all well and good, but you want to know, does it last? The short answer is yes. The longer answer is that 12+ hours is a realistic claim here, and I want to be clear, that's on skin. On fabric it goes even further. I'm talking wear a shirt with this on it, wash it, and there's a ghost of the fragrance still there. Sillage is interesting because it shifts throughout the day. First 2 to 3 hours, this is a room filler. You walk in somewhere and people know you're wearing fragrance without being close to you. From hour 3 or 4 onward, it pulls in closer. Becomes more personal, more intimate. The sillage shrinks but the quality of what remains is arguably better. So it almost works as 2 fragrances in one, wearing a bold public statement in the morning and a private, skin-close warmth in the evening. That dual nature makes it genuinely versatile across a long day. A single application in the morning will comfortably see you through to midnight. That's real-world longevity. That's what you're paying for. Let me paint a few pictures here, because I want to be specific. If you're the type who gets dressed deliberately, who chooses an outfit the night before, who considers what their appearance communicates, who views fragrance as the final and most important layer of how you present yourself to the world, Scandal Elixir was made for you. This is a fragrance worn by people who are intentional. If you're the person at the dinner party who others instinctively lean toward, and not because you're the loudest in the room, but because there's a magnetic quality about you that people can't quite explain, this is your scent. It works in the dark. It works across a candlelit table. It works in autumn and winter especially, when the cold air outside makes the warmth of this on your skin feel like a contradiction, in the best way. If you love the original Scandal and you wear it for everything, work, gym, casual Sundays, and you're thinking this is just a stronger version of that same fragrance for every occasion, I'd pump the brakes. Scandal Elixir is not an everyday casual fragrance. It has weight. It has intent. You need to be going somewhere with it. Wearing this to pop to the supermarket on a Tuesday afternoon is a bit like wearing black tie to a pub quiz. You can do it. But you might be slightly overdressed. Also, if you're someone who genuinely doesn't like sweet fragrances, not just prefers less sweet, but actively dislikes sweetness, this will not convert you. Don't buy this hoping the concentration changes your relationship with sweet. It doesn't. If anything, it intensifies it. Right. The maths. £125 for 80 millilitres. That's £1.5625 per milliliter. For a Parfum concentration from a house with this level of heritage and a liquid that genuinely performs across 12+ hours? Honestly, that's reasonable. I've smelled Parfum concentrations at twice that price that lasted half as long and delivered a fraction of the character. You are not being ripped off here. You're paying for the concentration, you're paying for the longevity, and yes, you're paying a little for the name, but the name is backing up a product that delivers. If you want to explore a similar olfactive territory for less, something in the same honeyed, warm, rich sweetness space, there are alternatives in the mid-range market that scratch a similar itch. But none of them have that dry down. None of them have that 12-hour arc. You get what you pay for here, and what you're paying for is quality. You can pick this up at p11, which is where I'd point you for this in the UK. They're a premium stockist and they've got it at the retail price, no grey market concerns, no fakes. Link is in the description. My score? 8 out of 10. And here's why it's 8 and not 9. The opening, while impressive, is almost too bold for some contexts. It limits when you can reach for this bottle, which at £125 is a consideration. But everything from the heart through to that dry down is close to flawless. This is a fragrance that rewards patience. The longer it sits on your skin, the better the argument for buying it. Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal Elixir is a fragrance that starts as a statement and ends as a secret, and the journey from first spray to 6-hour dry down is genuinely worth experiencing. 8 out of 10, recommended for people who dress with intention and wear fragrance like punctuation, the last thing, the thing that completes the sentence. Now here's what I want to know from you: if you've worn Scandal Elixir, did that dry down justify the price tag for you, or did you find something in the same family that gave you that warm, intimate finish for significantly less money? Drop it in the comments because I read every single one, and that's a conversation I actually want to have. If honest fragrance reviews without the hype are what you're after, subscribe. I post every week, and I never tell you something is brilliant unless I genuinely believe it.